Today, we are going to solve a problem. My name is Dr. Yeap Ban Har, and the problem I'm sharing with you today is about our two friends, Spiky and Curly. Their art teacher tells them to share a sheet of art paper. It's in the shape of a square, and the art teacher tells them to make sure both of them get the same amount of paper. How can they do that? Can you and your friends try to come up with different ways how that problem can be solved? How can Spiky and Curly share a square sheet of art paper equally? You have pieces of square paper. They are a little bit smaller than the actual one. You have pairs of scissors, and you have the usual stationery. Remember, when we solve a problem, we try to solve it in more than one way. Hopefully, you can get method 1 and method 2. And perhaps, on clever days, you might even get method 3. I wonder if today is a clever. Also remember, we agree to listen. We do not need to agree. Sometimes, when discussing things with our friends, we may have different opinions, different ideas, different solutions, different answers. That's all right. We agree to listen. We do not need to agree. Let us now try to solve the problem. Let's talk about the solutions as a class. Method 1. What do you think about method 1? The problem is Spiky and Curly, they share a square sheet of art paper so that both of them get the same amount of paper. And this is method 1. How can we be sure both of them receive the same amount of paper? What is the way of checking? Some people think that we can check by folding. If the two pieces are the same amount of paper, when we fold, this will happen. So this is one way to check. Is there another method for them to share the art paper so that both of them get the same amount of paper? Method 2. What do you think of method 2? Is there a way we can check that both of them receive the same amount of paper? Sure, we can check as before. We can fold. And when we fold, this must happen. If the two pieces are the same amount of paper, we can also check by cutting them out. We can cut them out and then put one piece on top of the other. And if the two pieces are the same amount of paper, this will happen. Is today a clever day? Is there method 3? Someone suggested method 3. Are we sure that these two are the same amount of paper? Do you think we can check by folding? Do you think we can check by cutting them out? Do we simply draw a line anywhere we like? Oh no, we must make sure this distance and that distance are equal. That means we probably need to use a ruler to make sure that this length and that length are equal before we draw that line. I leave it to you to check. Perhaps by folding, does it work? Maybe by cutting them out, does that method work? Some of us think that there are other methods. By folding the paper into 8 little rectangles or 16 little squares. Can you imagine how we can continue with these methods? How can the two of them share the art paper so that both of them get the same amount of paper? Is that a possibility? How can we check that this piece and that piece are in fact the same amount of paper? Can we fold? Can we use a pair of scissors to cut them out? How about counting rectangles? This piece is made up of 4 little rectangles, and the other piece is also made up of 4 little rectangles, so they must be the same amount of paper. That is yet another way to check. How about this one? Do you think we can check that the 2 parts are the same amount of paper by folding or by cutting them out? No? How about by counting squares? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That part is made up of 8 little squares, and the other part is made up of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 little parts. Since both parts are made up of 8 little squares, we say that the 2 parts are equal parts. So we have 3 different ways to check that parts are equal or not. Do you have other methods? Dear colleagues, that is one way to present an anchor task. There are many ways to present anchor tasks, but whatever we do, make sure we provide students with the opportunity to learn whatever they need to learn through a single problem. To paraphrase Pólya, it is better for students to solve one problem in 5 ways than to solve 5 different problems. Provide ample opportunities at exploration before structured learning. That's from Dienes theory. Provide concrete materials. Provide visuals, pictorial representations before they move on to abstraction. That is Bruner's CPA approach. Make sure there's ample opportunities for interaction and conversation. That is based on Vygotsky's theory. Also, Piaget's idea of children using their own natural spoken language to grapple with abstract ideas. Focus on conceptual understanding rather than tricks, formula, procedures. That is Skemp's theory. In a structured discussion, you would expect the struggling learners to be able to come up with at least one method outlined in Method 1. For average learners, they should be able to come up with Method 1 and Method 2. And if they're advanced learners in the class, Method 3 and beyond are some possibilities for them to challenge themselves. In this video, we see how we can implement an anchor task and conduct structured discussion.